Hey CCWs, hope you're doing well. Here with another video talking about CCW's rule of life. We've talked about prayer and we've talked about study. Today I want to talk about service. Let me be honest, service is a harder pillar for me to include in my life. I think it's harder for me. Prayer and study, the two we've already talked about, a little bit easier for me because I can stay in my head with prayer and study. But service, you kind of have to get outside your bubble with service. You kind of have to recognize that there's more going on than just what's happening. And at least for me, I have to realize that there's more going on than what's happening in my head. So I have to learn. I've had to learn from others how to really include service as a pillar and a rule of my life. I've learned that this particular pillar called service comes with some assumptions. One of the assumptions that it comes with is that we are a part of a community. We do not live as isolated, just individual beings on an island, but we are also connected to people, connected to family for sure, but also to neighbors. There are folks that we are doing life with actively, regularly, and then there are folks that our lives intersect for very specific reasons. But the assumption of service is that we are a part of a community. The other assumption of service is that we each have a gift to bring. We each have something to offer to that community, regardless of how we are abled or how we've arrived. Every single one of us has some kind of contribution, some kind of talent, some kind of perspective that needs to be brought to the community. It helps build up the community, which leads to the third assumption. We are all a part of what happens next. We're all a part of how this community grows and responds and how this community evolves over time. And so, with those assumptions, it gives us this beautiful way of asking some questions about how we include service as a role for our lives, a regular rule for our lives, a regular part of our lives, which means that it is not limited to like when a natural disaster happens, these moments where it's like all hands on deck because some kind of emergency has emerged. Yes, I mean, it does include that. Service definitely includes like when things, just these crazy, either, natural, disasters and things happen, but it's not limited to that. And it's also not limited to kind of being in the like right place, right time. Like I was there and I got to see it, and therefore that's why I'm serving. Sometimes this pillar of service requires us to lean in on things that we didn't know about. That means we're gonna have to learn some things. We're gonna have to really consider the history of how things got to the way they are and what that then means for what we do next. But being at the right place, right time is not the only service conversation. It actually is bigger than that. So here's the question: how do we, especially CCWs, how do we include service, this pillar of service, as a rule for our lives? Not just a natural disaster or even right place, right time, but how do we think about service as a regular part of our lives? It leads us to many questions. One question is, how am I a part of daily rebuilding, renewing, and restoring the community I'm a part of, the community that I have gifts to bring to, the community that I'm a part of what happens next in? So I hope that's helpful. We're definitely just at the top of this, like just really scratching the surface. We'll talk more about this in the fall, and I'm looking forward to doing that with you all. So love you, CCWs. Have a good one. Talk soon.